everyone. Welcome back to the Home Safari. I'm Sarah. This is Erin.
Hi.
We are here today with our wallabies. So we have 4 wallabies at the zoo. Well, we have maybe 5. We do have 5. We have 3 Bennett's wallabies. They're also known as red-necked wallabies. Right now, you guys are looking at Dawn. Say hi, Dawn. And behind Dawn, up there on the bench, is Ava. And Ava is our new Bennett's wallaby here. And she is the reason why we have 5 wallabies now and not 4. So Ava, we would be proud to announce, has a Joey in her pouch. Hi, Ava. Are you curious? So sometimes if you look close at her pouch, which is hanging down between her legs, you might see the Joey moving around. Now the Joey is just about 120 days old, so it isn't ready to come out of the pouch just yet, but we're thinking that possibly in the next month it's going to start poking its head out. So Joey's, hi, how are you? Joey's are born after 29 days of gestation, just 29 days. Isn't that amazing? And when they're born, they are about the size of a jelly bean and they weigh less than 1 gram. So they're super tiny. They don't even have their back legs formed yet. So they just have front legs. And they use those 2 front legs. They're really strong little front legs. And they crawl up the mom's belly, up to the pouch and into the pouch all on their own. The mom does not assist them at all. And there they latch on to a nipple inside the pouch and they begin growing and growing.
So we got asked by
yeah.
Alex,
That's awesome.
do wallaby legs work the same as kangaroo legs?
You know, they do. They are all in the same family. They're all marsupials. And they all basically move around the same. They're basically the same kind of animal. Just wallabies are a little smaller than kangaroos. And their legs hold a lot of energy in them. They're basically like rubber bands that are pulled super tight all the time. And when they release that energy, they can hop. Some of the biggest hops ever recorded from a wallaby or a kangaroo has been up to 8 meters, which is about 24 feet.
Sarah, how old are ours? Jill wanted to know.
Oh, that's a really good question. Thanks, Jill. So let's see. Right now, you guys are looking at Tom. Tom is 8 years old. Tom and Dawn came to our zoo together. They're both 8 years old. Ava, in the background there, is a Bennett's wallaby, just the same as those boys, and she's not quite as old. She's not quite as big as she's going to get yet. She's only about half grown, and she is 14 months old, so she's just over a year. They can have babies really young. And then little Adams is our Parma Wallaby, and you might see him hopping around, and he is 10 years old. So they'll live to be anywhere from early to late teens is a typical lifespan for a wallaby. And so ours are all a little bit middle-aged right now. They're doing great though. Sarah is asking, do they have pouches? Yes, they do have pouches. The girls have pouches. So girl wallabies are called flyers. Boys are called boomers. And the babies, as you know, are called joeys. And so the flyers have pouches. And that's where they hold on to their babies, or where their babies hang out until they're ready to get older. Let's see, what are you looking in there for? You think you got treats?
Sarah, what are we feeding today?
So today we are feeding a mixture of different treats for them. Oh yeah, fresh banana. So we have lots of different produce. They like carrots and celery, different lettuce, strawberries right now. Dawn is eating a piece of banana. Adam's over there. Looks like he's working on some celery. This little Adams. He's a Parma Wallaby. He's just a different species. He's full grown. You can see how they have these really great front legs and hands that allow them to grip and use them just how we use our hands, basically. And no thanks. So Addie wants to know what their tails are for. So tails, as you can imagine, for like a lot of animals, tails are used for balancing. And it's the same for wallabies and kangaroos. Their tails can help them balance when they're sitting up or standing up. And they can also help them while they're running or hopping really fast. Do you want that? I'm not interested in any of my treats. Someone is asking who their favorite keeper is. And we get that question for so many of our animals. And while Aaron and I would love to say it's us, truly, we have amazing volunteers at our zoo. Right now, unfortunately, because of the virus, they can't be here, and we're missing them terribly. But I would definitely say, and maybe Aaron, you would agree, that Tracy and Myra are their favorite people, basically, in this world.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the way we can tell that is as soon as Tracy or Myra come into the Wallaby barn and sit down with these guys, they come over right away, even if Tracy and Myra aren't holding any treats at all, and they sit down right next to them for a good cuddle. Now, this is not something you guys should ever do if you get lucky enough to go to Australia and find some wallabies in the wild. These guys are so used to being around people that hanging out with them like this is very normal for them. They're definitely used to it and they've learned to like it. But this is certainly not something you should do with just any animal you meet. Let's see. Why are they so comfortable with us, Sarah?
Well, ours are so comfortable with us because they were hand-reared. So they were born in human care and have been cared for by us their entire lives. So we spend a lot of time working with them, pairing positive things like fruit and veggies, some of their favorite food items, lots of little scratches and snuggles, and they learn to trust us a lot because we have a nice exchange there. And we try to have open, honest communication with all of our animals.
That is very true. I think we also work really hard to make sure that our wallabies are exposed to lots of different people and situations and sounds and smells and sights. So we make sure that, so right now Sarah and I are wearing different colors. And Sarah has blonde hair and I have brown hair. And getting used to all of those little things are part of what makes ambassador animals so used to being around people. Tenley wanted to know if wallabies are endangered.
Wallabies wallabies are not endangered. They are pretty much everywhere in Australia and New Zealand and New Guinea, but they are under threat, as many of you know, with the recent wildfires in Australia. They lost close to 1 billion animals. And that is absolutely devastating news for a lot of species. I think they're beginning to recover, and the forests are coming back and the grasslands, but it's going to still take a lot of time and effort and help from our zoo community, from our conservation-minded friends all over the world.
Can you talk a little bit about the introduction with the new wallaby?
Yeah, definitely. So Ava, when she first arrived here, she was secluded from the boys. So the other 3 here are boys. Ava's the only female. And when we wanted to introduce them, we tried to do it as slowly as possible, as comfortably as possible, especially for Ava because she was the odd wallaby out. And we didn't want her to be stressed at all. So we paired it with a lot of yummy treats. We gave them a lot of space and a lot of choices where to go and what they could do and places to hide if they needed to. And then the first couple of days, we just would bring Ava in here for a few hours, and then she'd get to return to her home, her habitat. And then over just the course of a few days, she started to settle in pretty quickly. And before we knew it, we'd walk in here and she'd be relaxing, and the boys would just be hanging out, and they were one big happy mob.
Yeah, I would say that Ava probably likes her new wallaby friends really a lot. Mm-hmm. She seems really comfortable with them. She's still a little bit nervous around us. You can see she's given us some distance, but no one has to worry because I'm going to make sure she gets some of these delicious treats when this is over. While we're looking at them nice and closely, I wanted to talk about their senses. Now, when I meet a new animal and I want to know what sense they use the most, I like to look at their face to figure it out. If you guys look at the wallabies, you can see they have big round ears and kind of big eyes and very long noses. And so that tells me that their ears and their noses are probably the most important parts of their face, which also means that their sense of smell and their sense of hearing is what they use the most. And you guys can see our friends, Don over here can even twist his ears a little bit back and forth like little satellite dishes to hear different things as they're happening around the barn and even outside the barn. So those are definitely their best senses. This one should be easy. What is a group of wallabies called?
Ooh, I just said it. It's called a mob. Did anyone hear that before? We call a group of wallabies a mob. They can also be called a herd, whatever like that. Not all species live in groups. Like Bennett's wallabies are typically solitary in the wild, and they'll come together for breeding, and joeys will stay with moms for quite a while, several months after they come out of the pouch. But in general, marsupials and roos and wallabies are called mobs. Erin?
Yes.
How many species are there?
That's a great question, Sarah. So altogether, if you group together kangaroos, wallabies, and wallaroos, there are 50 different species, which is a lot. But if we're just talking about wallabies, there's 30 different kinds. And we're very lucky to have 2 different kinds here at the zoo. Adams, who's over on the right in the corner there, is a Parma Wallaby, and that's different than our Bennett's wallabies, also known as the red-necked wallabies. Thankfully, these guys get along really well, even though they're different species. And we talked a little bit before about how big everyone is and how old they are. And they are all fully grown. None of them are going to get any bigger than this. Ava will probably grow a little bit more because she's still young. But all 3 of the boys are as big as they're going to get.
Well, let's see. Taylor is asking us how many babies they can have at once. So this is a really interesting question because they typically have one joey at a time, but they're also capable of something called diapause, which is a pretty big word, I guess, for me at least. And I came to find out that diapause means that once the joey is born and travels up into the pouch of the mom, the flyer, right? Then she can breed again and get pregnant right away again. So then inside her body, she holds that embryo and she waits just until she's ready to have that baby once the big joey is out of the pouch and grown and ready to go. So our last question is from Addie. Erin, what do they use their tails for?
So we talked a little little bit about this, and actually our camera woman can take a good look at our friend Tom's tail there. He's actually sitting on it a little bit, which is kind of a silly thing they do, and now he's going to get up and say hello. So the main purpose of the wallaby tail is for balance. As they're moving really fast across the grasslands that they live in, they use that tail to almost like a ballast to help them keep steady, especially on those big old back feet. And they're almost as long as their bodies and super duper muscular.
Well, now we've come to the activity portion of our home safari, and if y'all go online and click on the zoo's website, you're going to get to find a couple of activities. One is a word activity that you can do on a rainy day, and the other one will involve you figuring out your own hopping skills. Might involve a little bit of sidewalk chalk that you guys will hopefully have at home, or maybe you can use some tape on the ground. Either way, show us your moves. Send in videos and pictures of yourself hopping like a wallaby. And let us know how you're doing and how you're liking the videos.
And be sure to let us know where you're from.
Yes.
You write that. We love to see how many people from all across the country and all across the world are watching these home safaris.
Yeah, Erin and I can't express how much gratitude we have for all of our members and friends and guests all over the world, and especially in Cincinnati. We miss you all terribly. The animals miss you. We can't wait till you get to come back. And thank you so much for everyone who's already donated to the zoo. And if you still have it in your heart or in your bank, please click on that donate button. We really appreciate it. All this goes straight to the animals to help care for them and provide them with the best lives. And then if you also are looking for something else fun, you can go to Cincy Shirts and get a shirt that the Cincy Shirts guys are putting out. Our zoo is a keeper. You know it.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for stopping by today, and be sure to tune in every day at 3 o'clock for our Cincinnati Zoo Home Safari. Bye.
Bye.